Clarksville in Review, live from Bill Roberts Automotive, and a beautiful day today. It's awesome. Sun is out. Looks like we're headed to the mid-60s, and my goodness, can you believe January in Clarksville, Tennessee? And it's so nice out, and I hope you're having a great day. And thanks for joining us here this morning. Our thanks to Bill Roberts and to Doyle Rust and staff at Bill Roberts Automotive. Today we have orange juice, donuts, fresh coffee. If you'd like to stop by, Carolyn Bowers, our county mayor, is here. And we've had a number of folks drop in. City Mayor Johnny Piper is our guest this hour. Your calls and comments are, as always, welcome, 645-6414 or star 1400. If you're a singular wireless customer, that's a free call. We'll also remind you that we are filming today's show, and it will appear on tvclarksville.com. And I would assume sometime first of the week it will be edited and produced, and you can log on to that website and see the show if you've missed anything this morning here on the air. But we appreciate Gary Baker and his staff at tvclarksville.com for filming this, and we're going to be trying to do more of this in the future. That website will be a website filled with videos of local interest. So as more of you move online to listen to the news, to watch the news, and do things like that, you'll be able to watch this show, and we appreciate him being here. And again, our guest this hour is Mayor Johnny Piper. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you here, and now back officially as the mayor of the city. You've had a busy week, to say the least.
Well, I have.
Having been taking the oath Monday, and we're going to start back with the day you were sworn in, the new council sworn in, and so forth. And Barbara Johnson, the mayor pro tem, how did that all come about?
Well, she's the senior member on the council that has served the longest term on the council. She certainly chaired two major committees on the committees of the city, and so she would have been the logical choice. Mm-hmm. You work, whether you're employed or whether you're serving from a political standpoint, you try to always be increasing, and that's what she's done.
And the council overwhelmingly voted for her as the mayor pro tem with one vote against, I think, at that meeting. What were your feelings when you were re-sworn in as the mayor, having been through that before? How did you feel about that?
Well, it was exciting. I was, overwhelmed with emotions there. It's this job and is a rewarding job. It's a job that's certainly one that comes with great accolades. With having been sworn in as mayor, so I was excited about it.
And you've had a busy week, to say the least. We've got lots to talk about. Obviously, you had your first council meeting Thursday night with the new makeup of the council. It was interesting during that meeting how you made public record your board appointment on a bank, Heritage Bank in Hopkinsville, which has Clarksville offices. And you have had some discussions with the state comptroller about that, I guess, over the past several weeks.
Well, actually, I back in December, just to make sure there was no conflict of interest, I contacted Dennis Dykes, who's the state comptroller, and emailed him and told him of my involvement with the bank and what my position would cause and what would be involved, and asked him to make a study of it and give me some kind of recommendation as to whether there would be any conflict of interest or any ethics violation. And coincidentally, I got the report on the day of the council meeting. So I read both my request to Dennis Dykes into the record, and then I also read his response into the record. And what he said was that elected officials by state code, by Tennessee Code Annotated, can serve on bank boards without any conflict of interest or any violation of ethics. I have gone a step farther than that. I advised the bank CEO that if I were going to be on their board, that they would not be able to bid on City of Clarksville business. His comment was, in fairness to him, was that that is bid, it is a bid thing, and low bids usually get that, and I just told him that it just wasn't something that I was wanting to happen, and so after that they still agreed to want me on the board. So everything's above board, everything's on the table.
Right. When did they approach you about being on their board?
About 3 months ago.
All right. So you knew of this. You were on the board even before you were elected.
Yes.
Right.
No, I was not on the board even before I was elected. I actually was consulted probably sometime in the late spring, early summer. I was into the campaign. We had several discussions about it, and then sometime in late November, they made me aware that they had decided that they wanted me on the board.
But I mean, you knew.
Yes.
You knew there was no conflict.
Yeah, there's no
I mean,
conflict.
you wouldn't have done it if there had been a conflict.
No.
I mentioned earlier this week that former County Mayor Doug Wyland was on a local bank board.
Yeah.
And had been for years, and so they're obviously. But the reason for you disposing that right out of the gate was what?
Well, there have been so many conflicts of interest, or the appearance of them locally, and throughout the state also, the forged connections and et cetera. The local situation that we've been involved with AIM and the not reporting of those. And AIM was a great, big part of this last campaign. It was probably the number one issue that I heard as I went door to door about conflicts of interest and the violation of ethics.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to just be right up front about that. And so I just chose to put it out on the table so everybody knows I have nothing to hide.
Right.
And everybody knows my involvement and what my commitment was, what the bank's commitment is to me.
Now, the the county city council went ahead, and obviously one of your first orders of business was this ethics policy. And I don't know that I recall if we had asked you about the old policy before, but it drew a lot of criticism, the policy that the previous council had passed.
Right.
And you have a councilman who felt that was the best policy for the city. How do you feel about the policy they passed this week?
Well, I'm fine with it. You know, I've always been that it doesn't matter to me how the council votes as long as they vote from experience or vote from knowledge. And that they were all very knowledgeable on this. They voted, and my job now is to implement what they passed. I have no problem with it at all. I think the compromise was a $50 compromise, and I thought that was fine.
Right.
Most of the times, the only thing that comes into play are the lunches. You know, when you go to a prayer breakfast, and if they charge $10 or $12, generally speaking, the elected officials are there and have been invited to be there because they're praying for the elected officials, and they're generally complimentary. And part of this was to make sure there was no conflict of that.
Well, I mean, if you're invited to a Rotary luncheon, a Kiwanis luncheon,
Right.
or a civic group having a cookout, or I don't know that folks have all that much problem with that as much as what we learned about police officers getting free coffee on duty or getting free meals at certain restaurants. We heard that other businesses who didn't offer that perk felt like they were not getting the service that others were.
Right.
How do you respond to that?
Well, that's what I heard a lot. Of course, I believe our police officers do a great job in protection of our city. But I heard the same thing, that you had police officers that seemed to be attending grocery stores, 7-Elevens, etc., and or restaurants that were providing free food or free coffee. They were there more than there were those that did not provide those services. So those that did not have the police officer at their place felt like that they were not getting the service they were required. That was the conflict,
right?
Whether it be firemen or whether it be police officer or whatever. But we'll just have to trust that everyone will do their job and do it properly, police, fire, etc. And this really helps that, I believe.
It doesn't seem that it should be that difficult for public officials or public employees to understand, what's right, wrong, what's good or bad. I mean, if you want to make a donation to the horse patrol, mm-hmm. you should be able to do it, and they should be able to accept it. And if, a policeman, or if I want to take something to the firemen on Christmas Day because they're having to work,
Well,
I couldn't understand why back during the old policy that everyone felt like that was just such a major problem.
It was really misunderstood because the old policy, Wallace Red brought up, and I think he even put an amendment in there that said that you can give anything and as much as you want to give to the city of Clarksville, which is the fire department. The problem was when you give anything to an individual for their benefit, that was where the conflict was.
Right.
Even through the old policy and even during the moratorium, anybody could have given whatever they wanted to the horse patrol. Even today, they still can. because they're giving it to the city general. They're not giving it to a specific person.
Mm-hmm.
And that was pretty clear to me. I thought it was real clear in that you can give whatever you want to as long as it's given to the city as a whole,
Right.
not to an individual. And that's what everybody was doing. It was really probably blown out of proportion quite a lot.
Right.
It wasn't that hard to understand. Give anything you want to any department of the city. You just can't give it to an individual of that department of the city.
Speaking of, give me an example. I mean, are we talking about a councilman? If we took a councilman to lunch and wanted to discuss an upcoming vote, that would be improper? Or if we took the police chief out to dinner because, his department helped solve a crime we were involved in, that would be wrong?
Well, under the original Code of Ethics, it would have been because of zero tolerance.
Because I know when that policy was passed that, the police chief immediately informed his department that there will be no more of this.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, when all the debate started with, well, you can't give us a cup of coffee, and we can't have a fundraiser for the horse patrol, and we can't do this for DARE or whatever. And it did seem like it kind of got out of control there.
The thought of it was out of control. Actually, when you think about the police department, you have to think that they're sworn to uphold the law, and the law was you don't do that. So they would have been the very first ones to not violate that rule,
right,
that ethics or that law. And so that's why that the chief decided to come right up front and say none of this will happen until we get it cleared up.
You introduced Ray Runyon as the city attorney part-time, I guess.
We did.
What is that arrangement?
Well, it is part-time until we get a full-time city attorney. We're in the process of doing an evaluation of that as we speak. Actually, I've been in contact, or I've asked Wilbur Berry to be in contact, and also Sheila Michaels at Human Resource, to be in contact with MTAS, Municipal Technical Advisory Service for the state of Tennessee, to get their guidance and maybe some help on locating an attorney. And then we're posting that position, and we'll search outside of the area. That particular job needs municipal law experience, and I don't particularly want someone just out of college. I want someone that has some experience, because as you know, the difficulties that we're in today, we need some people we need an attorney that understands the law and make sure that we're represented well.
Right. I said at the top of the interview that you've been busy, and I don't think that's a surprise to anyone who knows you that you are a busy person no matter what it is you're doing. Your personal success has not been from sitting back on the couch and watching football games and so forth. You're a doer. It's been proven you're a doer, and you've been doing a lot this week. You went right in at Gas and Water, where I think you've been spending a lot of your time. You have an office there. Right out of the gate, you released Charlie Patterson, who was the public information officer. You made changes in Tay Eaton's responsibilities, and we'll talk about the latest that were in the paper this morning. So we know your feelings on Gas and Water and what's been going on out there for however many years, in your opinion. And when you got out there this week, what did you discover? And is there a lot of fat that has to be trimmed out there? Or how did you come to those decisions?
Well, actually, what happened was, let me first say that's a fine department. The people out there are fine people. So for the most part, all I'm doing is looking at the trimming of what I perceive as fat, and when I leave, someone will come in and trim what they perceive as fat. So that's okay. Actually, what happened to me on the very first day that I went out there, I did not intend on being out there and being involved at this level. But the first meeting I was at, which was with the chief financial officer and also the city engineer, some of the first comments they made to me was, "Mayor, we need $100 million now, and as much as $150 million now. Our cash flow is we're having shortage on cash flow, and we have a $15 million payment that's due April the 1st. We think we have the money to handle it, but we'll have to work through that." And so that's within the first hour that I was there, that's the first thing that was brought up to me. And by the way, Mayor, on this debt that we're talking about, you're going to have to raise rates to be able to pay the debt. And so,
what is that money for?
well, it's expansion. I don't know fully. I've not gotten the full. If I have received the full list, I've not gotten to the bottom of it to see exactly what all of them are. One of them is for a $30 million water treatment plant that I have a little bit of concern with. You have you get your eyes glaze over, but you currently have a 24 million gallon per day water treatment plant that you're using about almost 14 million gallons per day, and the peak day in the summertime you use about 18 million gallons per day, and you got a 24 million gallon per day plant. So my thoughts was, why do you need to spend 30 million right now if this one's meeting your capabilities? Mm-hmm. There are some extenuating circumstances if we were to contract additionally at Fort Campbell, but that's not even a given. And so that and other things. So,
well, what was the plan to handle that expense when you got out there? In other words, what was the plan from Dwight Luton and the previous administration, knowing you need $100 million and you need $150 million or whatever, and you need this $15 million payment? What did they reveal to you was the plan for handling that come April 1st?
Well, I had a meeting with the group team, the team leaders they had out there a couple days ago, and I asked that question. Why? I said I wanted to come in here to a fine-tuned operation, and I believe for the most part it is. And I wanted to come in and say, good morning, how are you? Is everything going good? And if y'all need me, let me know. And I came in, and this is what you told me. And I said, if you can imagine how disappointed I was to come into an environment that we needed to make some serious decisions fairly quickly. I asked the question, how long have you been working on this? How long have you all known this? And they said about 24 months. And my comment is, so if you've known about it for 24 months, how can I come in and you need it immediately?
So what was the solution? What were they working on? How were we going to handle that?
We're working on the solution.
Right.
We're
working. Well, what was their solution, though? They had to have a plan.
I haven't gotten to that plan yet.
Yeah.
But only because there's been so many other things going on. We'll be meeting again next week. Excuse me. We'll be meeting again next week, and we'll learn more about it. This operation is not a mom and pop operation. This is a large department, the large department of the city government. And so the things that I have learned and some things I've been involved with, I've been involved throughout this week. It's going to take weeks to get to the bottom of this. And I can't give you that answer yet. I don't have those answers yet. We will. We'll get there.
We have a caller. Good morning. Hello, JZM. Hello, are you there? All right, 645-6414 or star 1400. That's a free call if you're a Singular Wireless customer. And if you call with a question, please be patient. We will get to your call in just a moment. Mayor Johnny Piper is our guest. So Charlie Patterson's job was a temporary job. Are you surprised that he did not resign before you came in? I think that was coffee shop talk, common knowledge, that he might realize that he was not going to be part of the team?
I think it was, and I know, as everybody else knows, that Charlie called around many places to apply for jobs. So he knew when I was coming that was not a position that I saw as a primary position for gas and water. Mm-hmm. And it should not have been any surprise to anyone that happened. The part I didn't like nor appreciate was that I was having to be put in the position of having to make that determination, knowing that was going to happen. But Charlie will he'll rebound. He'll find something. He'll do fine.
Right. Well, you've obviously made a lot of changes this week, and I'm sure there could be more to come. I don't know, but you made a campaign pledge that you were going to run the city like a business. You were going to run gas and water and whatever, look at it as a business and not just politics. But Tay Eaton, who is a manager out of Gas and Water, was also involved with NGAC. You relieved him of that. Why was that?
Well, NGAC, it's another situation where NGAC replaced TAC, Tennessee Energy Acquisition Corporation. Natural Gas Acquisition Corporation, which is NGAC, is the one that, for whatever reason, we switched from TAC, and I believe that was probably inappropriate and improper, because I think some numbers that were out there were not accurate numbers from some numbers that I've seen.
But the council voted otherwise.
Well,
very quickly they took a vote and made a change there.
Well, I understand that, and so what happened with NGAC was this. It seemed to be the very same people that was involved with AIM, American Infrastructure Management, i.e. Dwight Luton, Mayor Trotter, others,
right,
were involved with the formation of NGAC. And so I wanted to be the one to appoint the board members of NGAC so that I feel comfortable with the recommendations that they're making back to me, or recommendations they're making at least to the NGAC leadership. Back about 6 or 8 months ago, there was a personnel hearing in reference to, now Barbara Harris, who was the
Chief Financial
Officer
right
there was a personnel hearing that she attended. There was a question to her about if she had any involvement with AIM. Now she worked full time. She was the number 2 person out there,
right.
I think. And this was a personnel hearing, not a court hearing, and she pled the Fifth Amendment on that personnel hearing. The reason I bring that up is it's now my understanding, now that Barbara left the 15th of December, somewhere in that time frame, she now has been invited to be the comptroller, whatever the title is, for NGAC, of who Mayor Trotter and others are involved with. And this AIM connection, I would like to see our city, frankly, purged of that. I think it's a black mark on our community, and honestly, I do not think there's anything illegal involved. I think
that's what everyone has determined. The district attorney, the state, and all of them have said nothing illegal.
I don't think anybody said. I never said that. I always
right.
thought there was a conflict of interest, and the appearance of conflict of interest there, and the conflict of ethics.
Good morning. Hello, JCM.
Yeah, Mayor Trotter had all this going on, and Johnny Piper, if you keep doing what you're doing, clean this city up like that, they don't have to worry about Mr. Piper raising no taxes. Well, you're already saving us a lot of tax dollars.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Thanks for your call. I appreciate that. In keeping with your busy week, and obviously it's been a busy week, you have also made other changes out there at Gas and Water. Principally, this morning's paper talked about the contracts at Gas and Water that have those AIM connections.
Yeah.
You're obviously within your right to do that. Paul Moore's company and others that have been doing business with Gas and Water.
Yeah.
Tell us about how you came to that decision.
Well, it goes back to the first few hours that I was there, and they said that we're going to have to raise rates. And what I said was, we don't raise rates until we cut expenses. Well, let's look at our expenses first and cut the expenses, and then we determine whether or not there's any rates raised. And so that's how that came about. And so when we go to looking at positions, and then we go to looking at that other expenditures, this sanitary sewer evaluation system, SSES, and the manhole rehabilitation, and the cured in place rehabilitation were major expenses. Paul Moore Construction was the one that got that $3.2 million in contracts. So I asked the city engineer, is that something we can hold on and kind of put a plug on the outgo of expenses, try to stop spending money until we figure out that we have the money to pay the $15 million, till we get from what I was told, the cash flow under control. And I don't think cash flow is way out of control. I have no numbers to back it up. I just have verification from discussion. And so my thought was, let's stop unnecessary spending if we can. And so that's how that came about. And in addition to that, I asked this city engineer and others in a meeting, are we far enough advanced in this process that we can hold up for a little while, do some evaluation of our expenses to see where we are before we continue that process? And in other words, assured me yes.
Do the projects need to keep going?
Yeah.
I mean, are these projects that we can hold on until you get a grip on money out there, or what?
Exactly.
I mean, they have a contract with the city. Are you opening the city up for legal action by halting Paul Moore's contract?
We don't think so. I actually asked Chris Hammer out there if we have the right to it, and he said we did, and he's actually sent the letters out. When I received the phone call from the Leaf Chronicle, they were asking me the details about that, and I said I had seen the contracts, but I'll let Chris Hammer answer that. They're the ones that actually know all parts of that contract. But it's my understanding we're not in violation of any contract.
Right. Now, we want to talk more about city business and take your calls in a moment. We need to take our first break. Mayor Johnny Piper is with us, and welcome to Clarksville in Review. Again, if you'd like to stop by, County Mayor Carolyn Bowers is still here. We have donuts, coffee, orange juice provided by Bill Roberts Automotive. City Mayor Johnny Piper is here as well. We've had a number of folks drop in already. We're on Riverside Drive, just under the big American flag, the giant American flag, and you're welcome to stop by today. We'll take a break and be back in a moment right here on Clarksville in Review. Let's go to our producer now, John Michaels. All right, welcome back. We're Bill Roberts Automotive on Riverside Drive for Clarksville in Review, and thanks for joining us here this morning. And you want to reach us at 645-6414 or star 1400. That's a free call if you're a singular wireless customer. Our guest this hour, Mayor Johnny Piper. We were talking about some changes you had made. You want to make a comment?
I do. Just to give you another example of what I ran into. I find out that on December 10th, 11th, 12th of last December, that they went out. That management at Gas and Water went out. They had a CD at Cumberland Bank and Trust. They cashed in that CD prior to the date that they were supposed to. They took an $11,000 penalty for cashing it in. And I don't know where the money went. I'll find out to see what it's applied to. But to take an $11,000 penalty without any discussion about it. When I found that out, I asked Wilbur Berry to go out to Cumberland Bank and ask them if they would be willing to forego the penalty and let us have the $11,000 back. And they did. They wrote us a check. Cumberland Bank, being the good bank they are and the graciousness that they were in this, they wrote the city of Clarksville an $11,000 check back and did away with the penalty. But why would we take and cash in a check and take cash in a CD, take a penalty on it without even asking if we could get the penalty away?
Well, where did the money go? Where was it put?
I'm sure it was put to a good place. I'm getting the results on that. I'll get that next week.
I mean, was it put in another bank, another CD, or?
I'm sure that there was a good reason for them to cash it in.
Right.
But what I'm saying is to take penalties on things without even trying to ask them to waive the penalty, especially with the size of relationship that you have. It's those types of decisions that I think that new eyes take a different look at and maybe a different approach on. And they wrote us that check for $11,000.
And they didn't have to do that.
No.
Yeah.
No, Cumberland Bank did the city of Clarksville and the ratepayers and taxpayers as service.
Right. All right, you have been spending a lot of time out at Gas and Water, but yet I know you have had visits with Police Chief Mark Smith, Fire Chief Mike Roberts. What's been the result of those meetings, and what is it you're learning about those departments?
Well, as you know, we have some difficult issues in the police department, and we're working on that. And I have had several meetings on that. I also had several meetings prior to being sworn in. I probably spent 20 hours on the police department during the time between November 7th and the swearing-in date. Those are issues that I'm working diligently on. Well, I think we're going to be having some recommendations and some decisions made on that within the near future, and we're going to try to get to some type of resolution on some of these, and move forward on this.
You know, the issue about Police Chief Mark Smith and all the lawsuits and so forth. We've talked about extensively, and even back during when the council tried to find a way to, I guess, retire him. It turned out that the public was not in favor of that. If he had not done anything wrong, or they weren't willing to give him the $1 million or whatever the deal happened to be, is he the problem in your opinion? I mean, is changing the police chief who you hired and motivated to take that job, is he the reason why we're having the problems there?
Actually, I don't really want to go into that right now. It's a complicated matter. I'll have to say to you that I think that part of the reason that whatever the compromise that they were offering was so complicating. I even did not understand all of it. He wanted $700 a month, or he was offered $700 a month, an X number of dollars, and whatever. And the package was a complicated package, and the public did not understand, nor did I, what that was all about.
Mm-hmm.
So we're revisiting everything here. I believe that we need to make decisions in that police department, and you'll find me doing that.
All right, we have a caller. Good morning. Hello, JZM. Hello, JZM. All right, we're at 645-6414 or star 1400. That's a free call if you're a Singular Wireless customer. Again, if you want to call in a comment or a question, please be patient until we're able to take your call. Otherwise, I don't know what else to tell you. We're trying to conduct an interview and take your calls, and so if you want to call for a question, that would be fine. In today's paper, when we talk about some of the changes you have made this week, Mike Smith and a young lady who was Mr. Luton's secretary or whatnot, you have let them go. I was curious about Smith, and the reason for that went back to the software.
Yeah.
Some may perceive that as just a personal political move on your part, that he evidently misrepresented the whole software issue, which we remember, Oracle and the whole thing. What was that all about?
Well, there were several reasons, and Oracle software was just one of those. And coincidentally, some of the misrepresentation was about me. And it's important that I be able to trust the people that I work with, and that I trust that the conversation that I have is something I can depend upon.
Right.
And part of this does go back to that. And when you lose trust in someone on giving you recommendations, it's not a good working environment. And I want someone that I can work with, that I can count on. That I can count on their
loyalty.
Loyalty.
Right. Nowhere else you can move him within Gas and Water that he would be suited for?
No, he's not Gas and Water. He's City General.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Yeah. I've got my mind on Gas and Water for some reason. But he is a department head, is he not?
I don't believe he is. As a matter of fact, we checked that. It's very specific in the charter as to who the department heads are. It's spelled out, and the information technology is not. Well, the
departments listed on the city code include information systems as departments. So I guess that's a gray area as to whether or not, you have building and codes department, city garage, police department, department of electricity, all this and information systems is there. And the reason I mention that is that, I mean, he obviously would be able to appeal his termination.
Only if he's ruled as a department head, and I don't believe that that's going to happen. But if he is, I don't mind him.
Right.
I don't mind him taking the process.
All right, now we have a caller. Good morning. Hello, JCM.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead. What's your question?
Yeah, my question is about the new hospital going in. I understand I'm a truck driver, and I know I-24 is going close to the interstate. You also got a railroad that goes down through there. And if they have a hazmat crash out there and poisonous gas comes in, and they're doing away with the old hospital, what's your code saying being that close to a highway?
Well, sir, all right, thanks for your call. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Frankly, that is a decision that's made by a corporation that governments had nothing to do with. They selected the site.
Right.
I had nor then nor now would I have any input for someone to come in and where they'd want to select their business location. Right. They selected that, and those are some issues that they would have to work through. But they're the ones that selected that site.
Yeah.
And so we had nothing to do with the selection of that site.
That's an interesting scenario he brings up. Back to the pink slips you handed out this week, the secretary that Dwight Luton had, no need for that job anymore?
No. Remember, let's go back again about they're talking about rate increases. We're talking about cash, cash shortage, et cetera.
Right.
And that's where I'm at on some of these things. That the Charlie Patterson situation was a position that's unneeded. But some of these others, as I've looked at there, I didn't think that I needed a secretary for the building maintenance supervisor. By his own admission, she does one day she does 2 purchase orders up to 15 purchase orders. That's what he told me. So I told him, you can do your own purchase orders, and I'll eliminate that position. The other position was a lady that taught Korean. That's what she was hired for. I don't think we needed that.
Taught the employees Korean.
Taught the employees Korean.
Right.
And I was told by some employees that no one ever attended when they tried setting the classes up. So and all I can say is what I was told. So that's another position that's pretty easy to eliminate. And then on Melissa, actually, what I saw here was the new person that comes in. There's enough secretaries out there that he'll be able to absorb his position into any one of those secretaries. And I actually told Melissa that if she wanted to apply for a job, she asked about if she could be transferred to another job, and I said I'm still looking at the operation, possibly downsizing further, and if so, I would not want to put her in a situation where she was downsized.
Right.
Again.
Well, you have said all along, and your MO has been in the past that you run the city as a business and not as a politician.
Yeah.
There's been some criticism, obviously, as I'm sure you're aware this week, or you wouldn't have run for the office. You have a thick skin and so forth. We've heard it. It's been on the internet and so forth about, personal vendettas and so forth and whatever, yada, yada. But I think people need to understand that if you run as a business, things like that will happen. I don't hear a lot of complaints when mid-level management gets fired from Ford Motor Credit or from Walmart or from one of our banks or whatever. That's a business decision that even though it's not a public job or a public entity where you are accountable to the taxpayers, it's sort of the same thing. I was interested in seeing how the Chronicle portrayed some of those terminations or releases or whatever. And
eliminations.
Some people sounded like they didn't even hear about it in person, or.
Oh no.
Yeah.
The one I let the maintenance supervisor tell her, and then on the Korean position for that administrative assistance position, I allowed her supervisor to talk to her. And because that Melissa fell under the general manager who was not there, that's why I took that on.
Right.
But Hank, I talked about this through the campaign. That I am a businessman and I would run it as a business. And frankly, if I didn't do this, I'd have people saying, "So why aren't you doing those things?"
Right.
And I'm not swayed much by what people write on blogs or what people write in the paper or what people say. I have given a direction. I've committed to that direction for the better part of 6 months. I ran a campaign and committed to that, and I'm living up to my campaign promises. Some like it, some not. Unless something happens to me personally, I'll be there for 4 years, and I'm trying my best to get things righted. Now, I don't want there to be misunderstandings that I think that there's anything wrong with that department. I think anybody that would have came in would have, after what they were told in the very beginning, would have come in, any businessman would have come in and said, we need to look at our expenses. And when you look at expenses, you see some areas that there just doesn't appear to be a need for. So you eliminate those needs, those areas. And in doing that, you're saving the ratepayers money.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't believe that any businessman would do anything different than what I'm doing.
Sure. Well, it sort of concerns me to think that right out of the gate you were greeted with the need for $100 to $150 million out of gas and water, and pretty much ratepayer money, taxpayer money, funds that budget, and we've seen fluctuations in rates up and down and this and that, and the move to NGAC was supposed to be a great deal and this and that and the other. So I still go back to something I was asking you earlier, and that is, what did they tell you was their plan to deal with those challenges of needing that money? And you say they weren't able to provide you with that. I remember when you were elected the first time that you came into office and realized the tax increase you made, which was the cause of your not getting reelected, was something that had to be done just to cover the budget.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and we tried saying then, when the resignation letter was given for the general manager, it was sent out to the department, to the city council members. In that resignation letter, he said they had $150 million debt now, and they need $150 million. So they notified them. The only problem was that the debt's not $150 million. It's public record. It's $187 million. So you only made a $40 million mistake there. There's $187 million in debt there. And if you need another $150, the other thing that we found is, and I've not gotten to the bottom of this yet, and I'm sure there's good reason for this, But what I found is that the amortization of the 187 million or whatever portion of that is today 6 or 7 million per year or month. I forget what it was, and it's going to go up. So within the next 10 years, it will go from 6 million to 12 million. So if you think about it from a house perspective, if you pay less principal in the beginning, you have greater interest in the beginning, and your interest reduces as your principal reduces. The problem is the way these payments are set up is the principal payment increases at the end of the project, so your principal is greater in the beginning with paying more interest up front.
I'm not sure how many businesses can exist that way.
I'm not sure either.
I mean,
now
from my small corner of the world of running a business, I'm not sure how long you could stay in business if that's the way you work your money.
But think about it now. Now there's reasons for that. As a city government, as you bring on new houses and bring on new water and sewer from part of this investment, then you have more income.
Right. We have a caller. Good morning. Hello, JZM.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
I have a question for Mayor Piper, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Piper, I think you're doing a good job. Keep up the good work. I wanted also to let you know that I just paid my bill about a week ago for gas and water, and I was really, really surprised at the amount of money I paid for my gas. I asked the lady there at the office down there on 41A if the gas had gone up, and she told me that the gas went up 11% last month. So I hope it doesn't go another 11% this month, because I'm going to have to shut it off. The other thing I wanted to ask you, sir, is when you were running for office, you stated several times, multiple times, in fact, that you wanted to clean up the city, and I thought you were talking about, really, really cleaning up and like in the areas of communities that are now becoming like small junkyards, people collecting salvage vehicles. They're everywhere. They're sprouting everywhere. And I mean, somebody's got to do something about it. I know the building and coach is probably not, doesn't have enough people to really go out and be proactive instead of reactive. Maybe you can help them out.
Well, I will, and thank you. I'd be happy to be known as a cleanup mayor. You're going to find this spring and summer that there's going to be a lot of focus putting on cleaning our city up. And I think this community, I hope that you'll be proud of it when we're through. I met with Jim Durrett and a couple other gentlemen, David Shepard and Clyde Carnes, yesterday about painting and about the Austin P emblem and about the cleaning up of certain areas of our city and some directions I've given them as to what I'm wanting done. So just because you don't see anything right now, you just hold on and wait, because the springtime our city will begin the cleanup that we've needed for several years. And I promise cleaning up, and you will get that, sir. Thank you.
All right. I don't think anyone should be surprised that you've been hard at it this week. Obviously, with what's been going on the last several years, we heard through the campaign, and I know we've spent a lot of time talking about gas and water, and I know we've talked a lot about it is a great department. There are great employees out there. They do great work. We have said that over the years and so forth, and it will take time to, I guess, shape it up into the utility that you and the council would like to have it to be.
Right.
Let's take another caller before we go. Good morning. Hello, JZM.
Hello.
Hello, JZM. Go ahead. What's your question?
Yes. This is Phil Drew, and the mayor has promised us all these cleanups in all these different areas of town. And I have been trying to, working on getting cleanup in New Providence and other areas like where the homeless woman was found about a year ago over on 402D Street. And that home is scheduled for demolition, and I was told that there was no money to do it. And then I was told further and further investigation that the police department was a hold-up because for 6 months they hadn't given the release and the investigation of the homeless woman.
What's your question, Phil?
And the question is that in fiscal year 0506, the Building and Codes Department applied for and got $100,000 of money. In fiscal year 0607, they didn't even apply for that money that they could have got. It's no match from the city. In fiscal year 0708, they have not applied, and they need to apply before the 9th of January. And I want to know what the mayor is going to do to assure that that does not happen again.
All right, Phil, thank you. All right, that's an interesting question he has, but I don't know specifically something that you're looking at the moment.
Actually, Phil and I met yesterday. He asked for a meeting. He came in yesterday, and I told him I'd look at some of the things. I forwarded on some things, and so Phil has some interest that I'm interested in too.
All right. Okay, before we go, I know you'd like to mention your new council, I should say the new council, or the new makeup of the council. You have several new members on the council. How do you think your first meeting went? How do you feel about this council?
Well, I'm so excited about it. You know, we've got some great members on this council this time. There's a couple of the old council members that were there previous that come up and said it. He said that was really, the one gentleman said something. He said that was very smooth. He said everything looks good and looks like a lot of cooperation. And there really was. You had a very smooth meeting, and you had some seasoned council members there that did a great job on leadership on the council. And the 5 council members that came on, you had never been able to pick which one of all the 12 up there that were new.
Mm-hmm.
They just were so professional in their approach. They were fine people that they're and committed to their citizens, that they want to do a great job for the city. And we've got a great opportunity with this council. I'm so excited about serving with them and working with them.
Well, thanks for coming in and starting the new year down here. We appreciate it. I know you're busy, and again, we hope that each and every month we have a chance to have you and Carolyn Bowers come by and visit for no other reason other than to just keep us updated as to what's been going on, taking phone calls and so forth. So we appreciate it.
Look forward to it.
Thanks for coming in. Mayor Johnny Piper, and we appreciate him being with us. And we appreciate County Mayor Carolyn Bowers for joining us this morning as well. And thanks to all of you for being with us this morning. And each and every weekday, or I should say Saturday morning, Clarksville in Review, here presented by our good folks at Bill Roberts Automotive and all of our other fine sponsors, Cumberland Bank and Trust, and Gateway Realty and Investment Group, Light Touch Auto Wash and Detail Center, Martin Bruner and the staff, the Leaf Chronicle, and others. We appreciate them. John Michaels, our producer and our engineer, and that'll do it. Again, we'll remind you that this particular show today is being broadcast and will be rebroadcast at tvclarksville.com. You might want to check that website out if you'd like to watch this show that we have produced for you today, so keep that in mind. So enjoy the rest of your day. I'll have to say so long for today. We'll be back next Saturday once again for Clarksville in Review. Enjoy the rest of this beautiful weather. Now let's close things out with our final break of the day. Here's John Michael.
Clarksville in Review is Clarksville's most listened to talk show for local news and current events. Join Hank Bonecutter and his guests live from Bill Roberts Highline Automotive each Saturday morning at 8. And stay in touch with what's going on in Clarksville. Politics, sports, crime, and education. Whatever's in the news, you'll hear it on Clarksville in Review. Clarksville in Review, live from Bill Roberts Highline Automotive, Saturday mornings at 8, exclusively on WJZM Radio.